Hey, what's up guys? Alex here with a new video, and today we're going to be talking about the Leica Q2 and specifically its crop modes. So in my previous review, I called this the perfect compact camera. And the Leica Q2 has a cool feature that enables you to crop into the photos that emulates different focal lengths. So 47 megapixel sensor attached to a 28mm 1.7 gives you the ability to crop into a 35mm perspective and still maintain a 30 megapixel file. You can also do a 50mm perspective or 75mm, and of course, I think it's 18 megapixels for a 50 and 8 megapixels for 75. Now, you're still using a 28mm lens, so in my opinion, the 50 and the 75mm modes are kind of gimmicky, but the 35mm really appealed to me because you're still getting a 30 megapixel file, and from what I thought before making this video, the 28mm lens and the 35 aren't that big of a difference. So I wanted to compare this to my new camera, and I also talked about this in my Q2 review. I picked up a Leica M10. Now, I picked up a Leica M10 with a 50mm 1.4 Summilux. I don't have a 35mm lens, so I rented one. I rented a 35mm f2.4 Summerit lens to compare it to the Leica Q2's crop mode. So two things. One, I read online, and I'm not sure how accurate this is, but the 35mm crop mode should give you the equivalent depth of field of an f2 35mm lens. I wanted to put it to the test, so we went ahead and grabbed the wifey, we went outside, maintained social distance to anybody around in our neighborhood, of course, and took some photos to kind of compare both. The results were interesting, so let me go ahead and play a slideshow of all the photos we took with the Q2 and the M10, and then we'll be right back. So there you have it, very interesting. Both files are extremely usable. Both files I was very happy with. I was actually very surprised at how usable the Leica Q2 was. But I was also very surprised at the difference between a 28 and a 35mm lens as far as the compression goes. So you usually don't talk about lens compression, so you get to like the 50, 75, 70 to 200 lenses. So what I was expecting before this video was 28 to 35 was going to be kind of negligible. But I was wrong. So in the Q2 files, and I'll go ahead and kind of try and compare them here. On the Q2 files, you can clearly see in my wife's face the wide angle distortion, right? It kind of squishes in the face. Now, depending on the face, this could be flattering. And on the 35mm mode, you have more compression, right? You see her face just look more natural than it does on a 28. Also in the background with the Q2, it does a great job giving you the depth of field, right? I think it matches the depth of field perfectly to the 35 Summerit at 2.4, but the compression is where the difference is at. So like in the Q2, you can see the trees here, and in the M10, you can see how the trees just appear bigger, right? And that's just how lenses work. The tighter the focal length, the more lens compression you're gonna get. And usually that's why for portraits, you're using a 50mm or 85mm kind of telephoto lenses, right? To compress the background, to give a more natural look to the face, and so on. But as far as perspectives go, the Q2 does a phenomenal job at matching a 35mm perspective and still give you a 30 megapixel file when cropping into 35mm. So of course, it's not going to replace a native 35mm lens, but as an all-in-one camera, I feel comfortable to say that obviously this camera is phenomenal with the 28mm lens, but also cropping into the 35mm focal length is totally usable, and to the untrained eye, people won't tell the difference. Now, of course, to photographers, especially anybody watching this video, pixel peepers, I'm sure you saw it a mile away, but in the end, it depends on how you're using the photos, right? If you're using them on a pinch, this does the job. So quick comparison between the Leica Q2's 35mm crop mode and my new Leica M10. So next video, I'll be talking about this body, this camera, with this lens as well, and kind of why I got it. So just brief context, I've dreamed of owning a Leica rangefinder, and here it is. So super happy. As always, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Let's end this video. Let's end this video with a picture here. Let's see. Let's see how long it takes me to get this in focus right here. And I think that's it. All right. Have a good one, guys. Peace.